Welcome back, friends, family, and strangers who are soon to be family,
to another episode of Learn With Us,
where we take
video content that is worth your time
and learn from it
with you.
Today, we're going into a teacher that I have recently discovered. His name is Dr. Joe Dispenza. I first saw him in an advertisement and thought, sir, you are whack. Because it was like some real out there, like, you can change your reality by bending the universe. And then I heard him in a podcast with one of my favorite podcasters, Aubrey Marcus. Shout out Uncle Aubrey. And now I'm reading a book from him. I looked over there because the book's over there. And it's blowing my mind. So we thought, why not head over to his YouTube channel, see if he's got any quick advice for people. And we found something where he said, I think it's 5 tips. 5 tips for creating a better life.
Yeah, I'm excited to learn from him because I know pretty much zero about Joe Dispenza.
But yeah, his whole thing is that he got into these things about like the power of the mind or the power of energy, consciousness, whatever you want to call it. And then got into a really horrible accident where he broke his spine in a bunch of different ways, was told you're never going to walk again, XYZ. He made a promise to the universe, if I can heal my spine with these practices, I will dedicate my life to it.
Whoa.
And then he completely healed his spine using those practices, blew the doctors away.
Whoa.
And now, if you go onto his YouTube page, there are just constant testimonials of people who have similar experiences.
That's really cool.
So let's get into 5 steps to change your life.
Let's do it.
Hi everybody, Dr. Joe Dispenza here. I want to take a moment and teach you some basic tools to begin to change your life. When you invest in yourself, you invest in your future. Number 1. Take some time out of your busy lives to disconnect from your world. Shut your cell phone off, turn the TV off, power down your computer, sit your body down for a few minutes, and close your eyes.
So I think that this is one of the most underrated things.
Seems so simple.
Yeah.
But it changes your life.
Your future is decided by the things that you're constantly repeating.
Yes.
You know, like the habits
So
you have
true.
decide where you're going to be in a year.
Yeah.
If you are never taking the time to pause and observe those habits, you are never going to change them. You're never going to understand what they are. And therefore, the future is not going to be a consciously created thing.
Oh, yeah.
So making this space is just you being like, hey, I can look at what's going on now from this perspective. And now I can see where I'm trying to head and where this is leading me.
Wow. Yeah, seriously. Like, not using technology for the first, 30 minutes of the day and the last 30 minutes of the day. It's something that I have picked up from a few places. And, also you just practice, which it just makes it easier for me to start practicing, has made my mornings and evenings, and, I mean, by result, the whole day, just open. It opens up everything. It just, your mind can work properly.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
You're not just constantly on these inputs that you're always taking in.
Exactly.
That are defining where you're going.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right.
Zing.
Good tip. What's next?
Number 2, take some breaths and center yourself. When you center your attention into the present moment, you have more energy to create with. When your mind wanders to the predictable future or the familiar past, that's normal. Just become aware of it and keep working on settling yourself back down into the present moment. When you're in the present moment, you're the most creative.
Yeah.
Good tip.
Good tip. Straightforward. I think we talk about it a lot on this channel.
Yeah. Breathe. You never know. I like this thing that Sadhguru says. He just says, your breath is very much your life. The way you breathe is the way you live.
Yeah. My favorite yoga instructor also, off that point, her name's Sean Korn. She says, a yoga practice, the physical practice can change your body, but the breath will change your life. And that, I never understood that until like very recently when I started doing breath work, and it's
Look into breath work.
1,000,000% true. Yeah.
Ask yourself, can I be defined by a vision of the future instead of the memories of the past? What do I want in my life? And take the time to answer the question. As you begin to contemplate and think about the answer to the question, you're changing your brain. When you make your brain fire in new sequences and new patterns and new combinations, that's the beginning steps of changing your mind.
Okay, that's pretty cool, because we were just talking about breath work, and I think the coolest thing that's happened for me with breath work is I can feel my brain functioning differently. My brain feels like it's expanding. It feels like it's working in tandem with my body when I'm doing breath work regularly and like while I'm doing it. And you don't really realize how important it is for your brain to have these different frequencies during the day, but that's so important, because then it feels, you and I talk about sometimes, like, the issue I think a lot of people have with being sober is that reality starts to feel like this flat plane with no peaks or valleys. But then when you start doing things like, say, breath work, or like we do cold showers, then you have these peaks throughout the day. Like, you have these fluctuations in your brain frequency state and in your body state throughout the day that makes the day feel like a lot more happened.
Yeah.
You know? And so you feel very fulfilled by the end of the day because you have taken journeys. You are not just always comfortable, always stuck up in your head all day in the same state. You know, being sober can feel like, if you do it right, can feel like you are just totally on this ride. And it's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a ride with clarity rather than like potentially weed, for me at least, would always make me foggy.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's been like a really crazy difference to learn about. This also reminds me of one of our last reactions we did on Dr. King, where we listened to one of his speeches where he talked about this vision he has of the future. And if you can build that future vision, you are able to dedicate your life becomes a vision that you're building, rather than caught up in all this like drama and stuff that's going on right now. Instead, you have so much more energy to give to something greater. And definitely I suggest go checking out that speech, because Dr. King just blew our minds.
More than blew our minds.
More than blew our minds.
Yeah.
On the emotions you'll feel when you begin to create that future, and teach your body emotionally what that future is going to feel like. And don't get up until you begin to feel those emotions. Next step, step number 4, rehearse in your mind who you're going to be when you open your eyes. The things you have to do, the choices you have to make, the steps you have to take, and review them over and over again.
So the end of step 3, which we hadn't yet seen when we talked about step 3, was the idea of putting yourself emotionally into that vision of the future. That is like one of the biggest things that his practices are about, because as you train your body to feel those things, you start to recognize those things more in your life. If you spend the morning practicing gratitude, like literally just sitting there, eyes closed, feeling gratitude inside of you, then you, throughout your day, find yourself seeing a pen and being like, dang, that's very helpful. Thank you, pen. It's like, I would have never done that, but I've caught myself doing that like 3 times this week.
That's awesome. And I think it's also, if you look at any pro athletes or really high level athletes, you see that they do a similar thing in sports, and it's really normalized. It's really regularized in sports, but not so much outside. It's like everyone's talking about, well, how did you do this amazing thing? How did you win that boxing fight in such a beautiful manner? They're like, oh, well, because I did it 1,000 times in my head before. I've already won this fight 1,000 times before because of those visualizations. I know that I took track very seriously for a while, and that is 1,000,000% what got me to do the things I did in track, were just because I was constantly visualizing in a positive manner. Like, I am going to do this. I am going to do this. I'm visualizing in my head. I see every step of the way. And then it's like when you do it, it's like, well, yeah, of course.
I've already done it.
I've already done it. Yeah.
That right there is like in the nutshell what Joe Dispenza talks about.
Oh,
like how to
cool.
crack that idea.
That's sick. Yeah.
and how to practice it.
Mm-hmm. So it is immensely powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The future, holding on to the biology of your past. Decide what thoughts you can bring to your future. Write them down. Thoughts like, I can't, it's too hard, I'll never change, I'll start tomorrow, what's wrong with me, it's someone else's fault. Decide on what behaviors or actions or unconscious habits you have to change. How do you talk? Do you complain? Do you blame? Do you make excuses? Do you feel sorry for yourself? Just become so conscious of those behaviors that you'll never go unconscious again. And lastly, you have to decide what emotions no longer belong in your future. That means if you want to be wealthy, you can't take lack. If you want to be healthy, you can't take insecurity or fear. You got to begin to condition your body to a new mind. If you do this every single day, your personality creates your personal reality. And your personality is made up of how you think, how you act, and how you feel. Change any one of those things and you change your life. And begin to measure the effects of you at cause. Give it a shot.
I feel like we could summarize this video in that last statement, which he did, of your personality creates your personal reality. And your personality can change consciously if you want it to change.
Because I think it's important to recognize, like, not to make anyone or any of us feel bad, but the positive things that you can do to visualize and whatever you want to call it, manifest into your life, because you're literally just like making that happen through the visualizations. You can also do that if you are trapped in those negative cycles in a negative way. So that's like something that
you do that.
You do that. Yeah. And that's something that goes along with it. That is like the tough part about it is if you are unconsciously trapped in negative cycles, negative visualizations, replaying things in your head, complaining in your head, that's going to keep coming up in your life. And you're going to be like, why does this keep coming into my life? It's because it's always running around in your head. And so then you are...
And that has become your personality.
You are, exactly. And you are unconsciously bringing that into your world.
And you have now identified with that thing.
Yes.
Like that idea of your past self not defining you anymore is just the idea of everything you've been told, every action you've taken, every failure, every whatever.
Yeah.
You've been the one who has defined all of that. It is your choice how you define all of that.
Yeah.
No, that doesn't mean go lie about things that happened in the past and be like, oh no, that didn't happen.
Right.
But inside of you, you can go to those past memories and you can actually edit them to be what is bringing you forward. Or you can go into that memory and you can work with it and be like, how if I was in this situation again, how would I handle it now? Made a video a while ago.
I was just going to mention it. Yeah.
Called How to Expecto Patronum in Real Life, where I break down a scene from Harry Potter, the Expecto Patronum scene from The Prisoner of Azkaban.
Yeah.
And came to a practice about those types of things.
Yes.
It's a fun video. Go check it out.
Yeah.
It's a little ways back, but
yeah, you'll find it.
yeah, worth looking for.
Awesome.
Dang, I liked it.
Simple, but like, yeah, you don't need to get hung up on the simplicity stuff. It's like the simplicity stuff is what's important, you know?
And this is what his books feel like too. Like, I highly suggest, if you're interested in this, if this sparks life inside of you, check it out, because like his writing is how he speaks.
You know, yeah. Einstein, I think, once said that if someone can't describe a really complex topic really simply, they don't know the topic well enough. So that's how I feel with a lot of teachers that we look at, is like, they seem like they're talking really simply, but that's because they have this next level of deep understanding of the topic. Because if you encounter anyone who's just like sending you all these places and your mind feels jumbled afterwards, but you like are like, oh, I guess they're just smarter than me. Not true. Not true. They don't know the topic well enough.
No one who really knows the topic is going to try to confuse other people about the topic.
Yep.
Alrighty, folks. Let us know if you like this man, Joe Dispenza, if you've never heard of him, what you thought of him. In the comments below. Like, share, comment, subscribe.
Much love.
Much love.